Well, it came in like a lion, but the biggest cheating scandal in college football history might just be going out like a lamb. Welcome to the Point a Minute show on Michigan football at the voice of college football, where we average one outstanding point per minute of video. My name is Cliff. His name is Mac. Let's get into it. So, as we've been talking about for months, while Connor Stallions did cheat by attempting an impermissible scouting scheme, it was not the biggest cheating scandal in college football history, as many rival fans wanted it to be. We were told every team in the Big Ten had incontrovertible, say that 5 times fast, incontrovertible proof of what was going on. And yet, even with all the pressure they put on Harbaugh and Michigan, Charlie Baker, president of the NCAA, came out and said, no one believes at this point that Michigan didn't win the national title fair and square. And to that, rival fans face planted, claiming that Charlie Baker, president of the NCAA, was only giving his opinion and didn't speak for the NCAA. Bit of a reach. Now we have this article from the Wolverine talking about the NCAA fast tracking the Michigan investigation because it seems to be amounting to nothing. So, what are the key points from this article? Number one, there's no smoking gun after months of investigation and access to Harbaugh's cell phone and emails. Mac, what would the smoking gun be if they were to find one?
Well, it would be whether or not a coach directed Connor Stallions to build this vast sign stealing network, this massive network of spies who stole signs from Ohio State. Were probably formerly employed by the FBI. A lot of stuff's been going down in the world lately. Maybe they were involved, and now in their spare time, they're stealing signs. Anyway, yeah, it would be whether or not Harbaugh told him to do it.
And they haven't found that.
Nope.
Point number two from the article is that Chris Partridge was fired based on the word of one walk-on player and now has representation to potentially sue Michigan for wrongful termination. What is Chris Partridge's argument on this?
Well, it said he never told players what to say or what not to say to the NCAA. There was an article that came out. I can't remember who put it out, but it basically said that what they think happened is that Chris Partridge, this might have actually been us a few weeks ago that I pontificated about it. And I'm kind of remembering it as somebody else put this article out. So I'm giving somebody else credit for what we did. Anyway, it was we were pontificating about it at one point, thinking that maybe it was just Chris Partridge telling players, like, don't lie, don't pontificate, don't make something up, don't speak on something that you don't know, just talk to the NCAA and answer their questions directly. If you don't know, say you don't know, don't make something up. That might have been all it was. But in any case, Partridge's argument is that he didn't tell them what to say or what not to say. He just said, be straightforward and honest.
Actually, I think that was somebody else's article because I remember reading about that Partridge was, like you said, was telling them, don't try to fill in the gaps for them. If you don't know, just don't say it.
Wow. So after all that, we still weren't the people who came up with that?
No, we weren't. Yeah.
All right.
But it makes a lot of sense because there's a tendency, especially in a situation where you're talking to somebody, an elder, basically, that you want to fill in, you want to offer more information than you have. Actually, that's typical. I think that all lawyers tell their clients, if you don't say any more than exactly what they're asking for, which is not lying, it's not giving them things to feed off of because you may be giving them inaccurate or incomplete information. So basically, Chris Partridge told these players, if you don't know, don't say anything. Answer the question, but don't offer anything they're not asking you.
Yeah, because at that point, the players could be accidentally incriminating themselves, incriminating, Harbaugh without intending to. I mean, if they're asking a player, like, what do you think happened? And then the player goes into, well, I don't know. All I know is we got these signs and all of a sudden we're playing a lot better. And then the NCAA is like, yes, please say more while we feed this directly to ESPN and Paul Feinbaum and all that kind of nonsense. So, yeah, I mean, it's at that point, it's just, just be safe, just be straightforward. Don't lie, but don't make stuff up either.
Right. Don't try to fill in gaps that you don't have anything to fill them in with.
Right.
But now the follow-up to that is a lot of rival fans have suggested that Chris Partridge destroyed evidence. Is there any evidence that Chris Partridge destroyed evidence?
No, not that I've seen. I mean, I don't think that was even an allegation. I think that was a rumor started by a certain channel of nutty background. That's all I'm going to say.
Scoops of nuts, you might say.
Scoops of nuts, nuts in more ways than one, even.
Point number 3 in the article, according to the Wolverine, most of the people interviewed had no idea what Stallions was up to and denied any wrongdoing. So, when all is said and done, does this essentially end the investigation?
No, because the NCAA still has to finish what they started, right? I mean, the NCAA is not going to start an investigation. They didn't. They moved super quickly, giving the illusion that they had a lot more evidence than they actually did. So it's all very bizarre from the outside looking in. Like, why did the NCAA move as quickly as they did in the beginning to accuse Harbaugh of all these different things, and then all of a sudden the Big Ten is suspending him, and then there's this huge call where all the coaches are talking about how horrible a thing this is, and now all of a sudden it goes dormant for a couple of months, and now they're talking about a notice of allegations where they don't seem to have anything. There doesn't seem to be any evidence of anything whatsoever. The NCAA can't just drop it on the one hand, but they also don't have any evidence to formally accuse them of anything. Well, it may be to accuse them of a few things, but certainly nothing of significance, or certainly nothing of the significance that we were led to believe in the first place. So no, it's technically not over, but it's also kind of over. Like it's not like Michigan's going to get like bowl bans, or the hammer's not coming.
Right. Now I know we didn't talk about this before we started recording, but is there any possibility in your mind, just off the top of your head, let's speculate for a minute here. Is there any possibility in your mind that the NCAA is trying to fast track this and get it over with because the NCAA is shortly not going to exist with the kind of power it used to have here? Once we really once this settlement between what was it, House versus NCAA, once that's
Yeah.
finalized, is the NCAA's power gone, and that's why they're trying to get this done now?
Short answer, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I could speculate that a couple of different things potentially happened here. That the NCAA was an overly eager kid who thought that he had a far cooler toy than he actually did, and he spent, as soon as he got the toy, he started playing with it. He played with it as much as he possibly could have, and then realized the toy actually wasn't really that cool. There really wasn't as much evidence suggesting anything as they thought they had from the get go. And so now all of a sudden they want it over with because, well, frankly, if it comes out that the NCAA started this whole thing and there doesn't seem to be any evidence, any evidence for it, that's fairly embarrassing. That's a fairly embarrassing PR situation for them right now, when the NCAA absolutely cannot afford an embarrassing PR situation because of what you said. I mean, it really feels like the amount of power the NCAA has over college football is waning at best right now. I mean, the NCAA, we could be in a situation where the NCAA ceases to exist in the near future simply because of the potential of a super league with the two major conferences, Big Ten, SEC, the number of teams that are flooding into those two conferences. And then if those two conferences leave the NCAA, you get it. I mean, so yeah, it could be the dying star factor here, where the NCAA is freaking out because they're losing all of this power they used to have. And so they're doing anything and everything they can to try and keep it, while also now realizing that they have to avoid a major PR catastrophe.
So let's say this whole thing comes to an end. Michigan gets, I mean, like you said, they're going to find something to hit Michigan with just because they've got to save face. So let's say they get some minor thing, and I don't even know what that minor thing would be, but essentially it means nothing. Do you think at that point rival fans will be happy, and
No,
and will they let it go?
no, they won't be. No, this is never going to be. I've never seen this amount of derangement for anything outside of politics, I guess. And I'm just
Mhm.
going to leave that there. I I've never seen, like, I don't know. Even when the stuff was going down with Ohio State, and Ohio State got all their bowl bans for Tattoo Gate and stuff like that, I
Hmm.
mean, I was just happy to see it because, anytime Ohio State gets shafted, that's a good day. That's a good thing. We like that. And now Michigan, this is what Michigan's going through. I mean, seeing and maybe it's just because like I've paid a little bit too much attention to a certain scoop of nutty, YouTube channel, the scoop nut scoop, paid a little bit too much attention to that. Um, I haven't seen anybody else except for like Buckeyes Battle Cry saying, we need to let this go. Like, this
Hmm.
is getting ridiculous. We need to talk about anything else because this is just stupid now. Like, clearly, nothing happened that in any way affected whether or not Michigan was going to win a national championship. They won it fair and square. Everybody knows that, but apparently, certain people just can't accept that.
Yeah, I agree. It's frustrating that, and like you said, in almost any realm, people will believe what they want to believe, especially if it allows them to continue to dislike something or someone or some team that they already dislike, and then it just never goes away.
Right. And I should
It's
say,
frustrating.
maybe I shouldn't say that I haven't seen, I shouldn't be so definitive about it because I have seen a lot of Ohio State and Michigan State fans saying that this is ridiculous and we need to move on. Like, as much as they hate to admit it, Michigan won a national championship. And, so maybe I shouldn't be so black and white about it. But I mean, there certainly has been a lot of intense feelings about this, and I don't
Mhm.
really understand why.
Well, maybe with the the all new college football this season, maybe it'll kind of reset the field, and we can all start over and get back to just standard rivalry hate rather than all of this other stuff that we've been going through. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Well, let us know what you think about what we think. Leave a comment and let us know. Like, subscribe. If you want more college football analysis, check out all the shows right here on Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. You can also catch Mac and I live on the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show Monday nights at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube at Team Rivalry. Mac, take us out.
This is Michigan football at the voice of college football.